The wind roared across the open sea as waves slapped against the steel sides of the ferry, sending fine sprays of salt across the deck, where a lonely man in an expensive charcoal suit stood gripping the railing. Adrian Hale, the billionaire CEO known for his ruthless decisions and ice-cold demeanor, looked nothing like the polished giant the business world admired. His eyes were buried in exhaustion, his mind circling around the court date awaiting him the next morning, where his estranged family would once again fight him over the company he built. He had boarded the evening ferry to escape the suffocation of meetings, lawyers, and headlines calling him a tyrant. He didn't believe in fate, nor signs, nor miracles. But fate believed in him, and on that windy deck, it was already stepping toward him, on small wheels that clicked lightly against the wooden planks. If you're listening right now and believe in kindness, miracles, and second chances, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. It helps storytelling like this reach more hearts. Adrian had been staring into the horizon when he sensed someone moving close, slow, and hesitant. He glanced down and saw a young girl in a wheelchair, no more than 12 or 13, bundled in a peach-colored sweater, her dark hair tied loosely in a ribbon that kept fluttering in the sea wind. Her legs were thin, strapped gently to the footrest, and her hands trembled slightly as she rolled herself forward. But it was her eyes, wide, hopeful, almost luminous, that held Adrian's attention. She looked up at him, not with fear or pity or the usual guardedness people used when approaching someone like him, but with an innocence so disarming that Adrian actually stepped back. She tried to lean forward, her tiny hands gripping the wheels, but the ferry railing was too high, blocking her view of the open sky beyond it. Her chin quivered with the effort before she looked up at Adrian again. Her lips parted and her voice came out soft, fragile, yet filled with a quiet yearning. She asked if he could help her, if he could lift her so she could see the sky properly, because from her chair, all she could see were people's backs and coats and elbows. And the sky, her favorite thing in the world, was hidden from her. Adrian froze. The request was so simple, so pure, and yet it struck him like a storm. He had spent years refusing requests far more complex and cruel, but this soft plea from a child, felt like something entirely different. He was a man used to numbers and negotiations, not moments like these. For a second he almost turned away, afraid of what kindness might unlock inside him. But the girl's hopeful gaze held him in place. Something in him softened, cracked, then broke quietly open. He bent down and gently lifted her, feeling how light she was, how fragile her bones seemed beneath the layers of clothing. But she wasn't fragile in spirit. She held her breath as he raised her high enough for her eyes to meet the endless stretch of sky. The wind brushed her cheeks and tangled her hair, and her whole face lit up in wonder. Pure, brilliant wonder. Adrian felt something he hadn't felt in years. Peace, the rarest, most precious kind. And when she whispered a thank you, one so heartfelt that it trembled against the air, he felt a warmth spreading through his chest that he didn't quite know how to name. He placed her back into her wheelchair gently, his hands lingering for a moment as if afraid she might disappear. She giggled softly, embarrassed that she had asked a stranger for help, but she told him she had been wanting to see the evening sky all day. She explained how clouds reminded her of stories, fairy tales, dreams, things she hoped to do someday even if her legs wouldn't let her. Adrian remained silent, but inside, her small sentences were echoing across places he thought were long dead. The ferry swayed, passengers moved around them, and the girl's mother appeared breathlessly, apologizing for her daughter's boldness. Life was chaotic around them, but Adrian stood perfectly still, the girl's eyes, bright like tiny stars, fixing themselves somewhere deep in him. Her mother explained that the girl's name was Amara and that she had been in and out of hospitals since she was 6. The wheelchair was her constant, but she never complained. She always looked up, always found joy in the sky. Adrian listened, but his attention kept returning to Amara, who was now staring at the clouds again, fascinated by their shapes, entirely unbothered by her mother's worry or the world's noise. As the sun began to lower, Adrian found himself drawn toward them instead of away. He asked if they needed help getting to the indoor cabin, but Amara shook her head. She wanted to stay outside. She wanted to breathe the sea wind a little longer. She wanted to watch the horizon. Her mother apologized again, explaining they were traveling for Amara's upcoming treatment. They weren't wealthy, they couldn't afford flights, and the ferry was all they could manage. The mother's voice trembled with exhaustion hidden behind forced smiles. Adrian felt something twist in his chest. His own life, so consumed by wealth, success, and battles he was too tired to fight, suddenly felt hollow. Here was a girl who had nothing, no gold, no legacy, no luxury, and yet her heart held more light than any mansion he owned. When the ferry jolted from a sudden wave, Amara clutched the armrest, her small body trembling. Adrian instinctively reached out, steadying her chair. She smiled to reassure him, even though her lips quivered slightly. She said she wasn't afraid. She just didn't want her mother to worry. Adrian admired that. He admired her courage more than he admired any boardroom victory he'd ever won. The sky deepened into shades of violet and amber, and as the ferry neared the harbor, Amara asked if she could stay on deck just a little longer. Adrian said he would stay with her. He didn't know why he said it, only that he wanted to. That he needed to. The mother watched the two of them with confusion first, then gratitude. She didn't know who Adrian was. She didn't know she was speaking to one of the most powerful men in the country. She didn't know the weight he carried or the battles he fought. She only saw a man being kind to her daughter, and in her eyes, that was more valuable than anything money could offer. As the lights of the harbor glittered across the water, Amara asked Adrian another soft question: what the sky looked like from the top of the tallest building. Did it feel closer? Could he see the stars better? Did the wind feel stronger? Adrian swallowed hard. He didn't remember the last time he'd looked at the sky from his corporate tower. He didn't remember noticing stars or wind or anything that didn't involve deadlines. She smiled, as if hearing his unspoken truth. She said people who lived too high sometimes forgot to look up. Adrian felt her words as if they were meant for him and only him. When the ferry docked, Adrian offered to help them disembark. The mother hesitated. People had hurt them before. Promises, pity, broken charity. But Amara nodded eagerly. She trusted him, and her trust was something Adrian felt responsible for. They walked together down the ramp, his hand steadying the wheelchair. Cars honked, people rushed, the world kept spinning. But Adrian walked slowly, carefully, making sure Amara felt safe. When they reached the street, he didn't want to walk away. He didn't want the moment to end. He hadn't felt connected to anything real in years, and this child with gentle eyes had unknowingly given him something he didn't know he had lost, a sense of humanity. The mother thanked him deeply, ready to say goodbye, but just then, Amara winced in pain, a sudden, sharp ache in her legs. Her breathing quickened, her hands shaking. Adrian reacted instantly, his composure cracking as he picked her up and insisted they get her medical attention. He didn't care about his driver waiting, his schedule, or tomorrow's court hearing. He cared only about the girl trembling in his arms. He rushed them to a nearby clinic in his luxury car, the mother stunned at every turn. Stunned by the vehicle, stunned by the urgency in his voice, stunned by the sudden deep concern of a stranger. Doctors attended to Amara quickly, giving her medication, checking her vitals. Adrian stayed outside her room, pacing like a worried parent he never had the chance to be. When the doctor finally came out, he said Amara would be okay for the night, but her condition required more tests, more care, more money. Money the mother didn't have. Money Adrian had more of than he could ever spend. He looked through the small window at Amara resting, her breathing soft, her tiny face relaxed, And in that moment, Adrian Hale made a decision that would change all their lives. He arranged her full treatment. Quietly, immediately, without asking for thanks, without mentioning his name. He didn't want applause. He didn't want recognition. He wanted to save a girl who had reminded him what it meant to feel alive again. But when Amara woke later that night and saw him still sitting there, exhausted yet present, she whispered that the sky looked different after meeting him. Brighter, bigger, warmer. Because sometimes people were like skies. Some brought storms, but some, she said, brought sunrise. Adrian's eyes stung. He didn't know what to say. He didn't need to say anything. Her words had already unraveled the hardest parts of him. When the mother learned what he had done, she cried, trying to thank him. But Adrian simply said he was grateful, too grateful, that he had met them on a ferry deck. Grateful that a small voice had asked him to lift her up. In the days that followed, Adrian visited Amara often. His court battles faded to the background. His empire felt less important. He found himself choosing hospitals over boardrooms, choosing laughter over stress, choosing connection over isolation. And Amara, bright, curious, endlessly hopeful, became the light he didn't know he needed. She healed more than her body, she healed him, and when the doctors finally gave hopeful news that treatment was working, that her chances were improving, Adrian cried for the first time in years. Not out of grief, but out of gratitude. If this story touched your heart even a little, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support keeps stories like this alive. Before the ending, please comment below what part of the story moved you the most. In the end, as they stood once again beneath the open sky, this time on the rooftop of Adrian's headquarters, Amara asked if he remembered the moment she first asked him to lift her. Adrian nodded, his throat tight. She smiled softly and said she didn't need to be lifted this time, because now she could see the sky perfect, thanks to him. And for the first time in his life, Adrian Hale looked up, and truly saw it too.